Hi everyone, welcome to our maths for this week. For week 8, our focus is going to be 2D shapes. 2D shapes we have been building on since kindergarten, even preschool. We've built on from understanding the names of simple shapes. Then we started understanding the different properties like corners and sides. Then we started moving on to symmetry and understanding different aspects of these 2D shapes. Today, we are going to focus on identifying and splitting and combining shapes. This week, we're also going to look at symmetry, rotation, and different types of, not just rotation, there'll be other things as well, and also tessellation. So things we've already done before in previous years, and we're building on this knowledge. Getting ready for Year 5, Year 6, and into high school. Our warm-up, again, different number, is to write the facts you know. So again, like last week, I'm not going to explain this further since it's now routine, but just coming up with as many things as you know for the number 32. Now, our learning intention. For Year 4, I can combine, which means put back together or put together, and split, which means separate, 2D shapes. I can describe the shapes formed or split. So our first example, when we combine, is in the purple. When we combine a rhombus and a triangle, it can form a trapezium, as you can see in the picture. So our rhombus is on the left. Now, I don't want you guys getting confused with rhombus and diamonds. So please remember this is the rhombus. And at a different angle, sometimes it does look like the diamond, a very common error. So the rhombus is on the left, and they've put a triangle. They've put the equilateral triangle here. And together, when you look on the outside sides only, not just the inside, you can see together they have combined and formed a trapezium. But then the opposite, we can also do the opposite. So here we've got a rhombus, a parallelogram. Now with the parallelogram, it's a bit longer on one, so the top and bottom lines are a bit longer than our rhombus, which has 4 equal sides. With our parallelogram, we can see that it can be split, and when we split it up, it's like cutting a cake, but you're cutting the shape, and you're cutting it into parts. And when we have this parallelogram cut up, we can see that there are 2 triangles and a rectangle. And the 2 triangles are equal sized, but just flipped over. Now let's have a go at seeing the activity, and we'll do the activity together. Now, some of your questions, they're going to be super simple, but to the point. Your first task is to split the shape by using a ruler, straight lines. Now you can use 3D paint, so insert shape, or like even on Word, Microsoft Word, on PowerPoint, you insert a shape and then you can insert a line and cut it up like that. If you want to, you can also do it on a piece of paper. So I've got my piece of paper here ready. You do not need to use a printer to print these pages out. You can use your pictures, draw your own shapes, and create your activity on a piece of paper as well. So that's fine. Now here we've got an example that's been done for you. A trapezium, we've split it into different shapes. So I've created 1 or 2 equal sized triangles here, and then I could have left this as a rectangle, but I wanted to take it further, and I've split here into 2 equal triangles as well. So we can see that a trapezium, when split, can be made into 4 triangles. You can do this with other shapes as well. So I've got a rectangle here and my piece of paper. I can split a rectangle into a square and two triangles, as you can see here. Okay, a square and two triangles. I've also got a picture of a square. When we've got squares, you can split them. We know that when we use our symmetry, we can make them into lots of different shapes. For example, you could split it, oops, I forgot to do that, into two rectangles. You could also split a square into a rectangle and two triangles. Okay, there are lots of options and lots of different ways that you can split your shapes up. The next step and the next part is when we have the shapes and we're combining. This is when you've got different shapes and you're joining them back together. This one's tricky because sometimes you have to imagine the shape being flipped over or twisted and put to different angles. Say for example, if up on the page, we'll start with that one, I've got two triangles and I've put them together, and when they join, they make a rectangle. But we also, like say for here, if the question said you have two triangles and a square, what shape can you make? Okay, I could play around and sketch it, draw it. You could also get on 3D paint, put a square, two triangles. Remember to really focus on what type of triangle they are. So here I've got, they are not equilateral. They are, because they're right angle triangles, they do not have three equal sides. They've got the right angle in the corner. So be careful, make sure you use the correct triangle in the question. So here I've got a square and two triangles, and together I'm going to have a go and I'm going to put it this, and I can see that when I've combined them, I can make one rectangle. Okay, so that's what you'll be doing as well. You don't need to print this page, you don't need to use 3D paint, you can also use your paper, just like I have. Now let's keep going. Your independent practice. So the blue or greeny blue is when you split. The pink, you've got two questions with the pink, and with the pink you're combining. But I haven't put all the 6 triangles there for you for the question 1, because I want you to have a go on your own. If I put the triangles in a certain way, it might give you a clue. So have fun with this. Split this. On the left, you're splitting the shapes by using a ruler, straight lines. So draw the pentagon on a piece of paper, or go onto 3D paint, split it up with lines. What shapes can you find inside? Do that for the rectangle, the trapezium, and I think it should be the octagon. Yep. Then on the other side, combine and join these shapes. So you've got 6 triangles. These are not right angle triangles, they're not scalene, they are equilateral triangles. So make sure they have 6 of these. If you are using your computer, make sure you copy and paste your first triangle 6 times to make sure they are all exactly the same. If you are drawing, make sure that you use a ruler and that all 6 triangles are exactly the same length. Then you've got the question 2 for combining. You've got a rectangle and 2 triangles. Oh, my screen is there. And what shape can you make? Have fun. Enjoy this activity. If you need to, you can post your screenshot of your Paint 3D or online picture of splitting and combining, or post a picture of your piece of paper that you've done your work on. If not, ask an adult to mark your work at home. Now let's have a look at the optional activity. Your optional task, using cut paper, shapes, toothpicks, drawings or online shapes. So you can cut shapes out with a piece of paper, cut them out first, draw them, cut them out, and then have different little pieces around you. You can use toothpicks to make them, join them together with some gum, whatever works for you. You can draw, you can use online shapes. Challenge 1, how many ways can you split a trapezium, pentagon, octagon, and rhombus? So how many different shapes can you find in these? And challenge 2, how many different shapes can you create by combining a variety of squares, rectangles, and triangles? So if you have a square, one square, and one triangle, what shape can you create? If you've got a rectangle and a triangle and another triangle. So the option is limitless. These are open-ended questions. You can do 1, you can do 5, you can do 10. It's up to you. Have lots of fun with these activities and come back if you need to re-watch the instructions. Mrs. Dubay is on Google Classroom if you need any help. Remember, if you can, post it on the doc. If you can't, that's fine. Just show an adult at home and ask them to mark your work. Either way, I will see you at tomorrow's lesson. Hi everyone, welcome back. Now let's start our Tuesday lesson. We'll start with warm-up. Your warm-up today is for the number 55. Our learning intention for Tuesday's lesson. Again, we're still focusing on 2D shapes. Yesterday we were looking at splitting and combining shapes. Today we're going to create symmetrical patterns, designs or pictures and shapes by translating, which just means sliding, reflecting, just flipping, and then rotating shapes, so turning. I'd like you to please click on this video link below where it shows the transitions, reflections, and rotations of shapes. I think they've got an extra one in there as well, but you can just ignore that, or you can just watch it and learn something new, which is excellent. If you can't click on it from the link, make sure that you ask an adult to type it in for you and find the video. That way, and it's by Turtle Diary in case you need that. Once you're ready, come back to this video. So pause me now, come back after you've watched this clip, and let's get started. So translating, which just means sliding, reflecting, which is flipping, and rotating, which is turning. As you can see, I've put on the left a little picture information chart just to remind you, and it's very important that you kind of try to start remembering. Reflection is easy, it's kind of like a mirror. Rotation is easy, you know, you hear the word rotate when they say turn something. It's just translating that kind of doesn't sound like sliding at all, unless it does, and I'm not aware of that. Okay, so I've actually answered the questions here for you. That's so for people who don't see the video and just see the slides. That way they've got the answers there and I'm not just drawing the answers on. So the first shape was the question. So here it says translate or slide the rectangle, then create a translating pattern. So what I've done with the original rectangle is that I've translated it up about 45 degrees and then down about 45 degrees, and then I've done it up again. So as you can see, I've created a translating pattern. My shape is the same, has to stay the same size as well. Same, everything has to be exactly the same, the dimensions. And when you translate or slide it, all it is doing is moving and sliding in a particular direction in the same amount. So can you see how it's an even slide? My 45 degrees up is only, and grid paper is fantastic for this, it is only 1 square up and diagonal 45 degrees, diagonal down 1 square down. So that pattern is consistent. I'd like you to do that with your questions as well. The next question, reflect or flip the shape, then continue the pattern. So originally it's the green L shape over here. The original green L shape has been flipped and it looks the opposite way, and then I flipped it again. So pretend it's like a pancake and it's just flipping and flipping and flipping. And then the next exact same dimensions, it's in line, make sure it looks exactly the same, that it's just flipped. Even that spacing, try and get it as even as possible. That's how it creates that reflection pattern. Then the last shape we've got is our arrow. So we're rotating and turning the arrow to create a rotating pattern. What's really important is that the shape moves from a point. So I want you to really focus on just the tip of your arrow. That arrow tip is where the rotation will happen. We're going to look more into rotation in Wednesday's lesson, where we look at quarter turns, half turns, 3/4 turns, and full turns. But for today, all you need to see is that it's doing a turn where it's from that corner, it's gone down. So think of a clock, like it's at 3 o'clock, now it's pointing to 6 o'clock, the next one is at 9 o'clock, and then the top one is at 12 o'clock, or the fourth one, sorry, the top one is pointing towards. So that point is very important. See how the sizing of my arrows are staying the same? I'd like you to do that as well. Now it's your turn. Here, I've got a shape there ready for you. So the first 2 shapes are just for translating. So you're creating a pattern and translating these shapes. The next one is a rotating pattern using the triangle and the moon crescent shape. Then the last one is you're creating a reflecting pattern using the arrow, 2 different arrow shapes. Please make sure that you just do the translating, rotating, and reflecting shapes for these. You may look back at my instruction video before and look at how I translated or how I rotated and how I reflected my pattern shapes to match yours. Now here is your optional activity. You are going to create your own 2D shape symmetry pattern or art. Your patterns must show translating, rotating, and reflecting of shapes. You can use Paint 3D and do it online, and then send a screenshot onto your Google Doc, like copy and paste it. You can do cutouts of paper, newspaper, magazine pages, or even draw them. Use your imagination and have fun. For your pattern previously, I forgot to say that if you can't print the page out, you may use 3D paint, or you might even do insert shape just directly onto your doc to do your patterns, to translate, rotate, and reflect. You might do it on a piece of paper and create your pattern on a piece of paper. Either way, if you can, post a picture of your work, copy and paste your work, or screenshot your work into your doc. If you can't do that, and you are doing it on a piece of paper and are unable to put it onto your doc, that is completely okay. And I'm sure you would have done an amazing job, and your parent or an adult at home would be more than happy to mark your work. I look forward to seeing what you come up with, or I'm sure your parents will as well. Have lots of fun, and I'll see you at tomorrow's lesson. Hi everyone, welcome to Wednesday's lesson for 2D shapes. Yesterday you were doing some rotating, reflecting, and translating of 2D shapes. On Monday we were looking at splitting and combining our shapes. Today we are going to focus on just purely the rotation and understanding half turns, quarter, half, 3/4 turns, and full turns. Let's start with our warm-up. Your warm-up will be for the number 22. Our learning intention for today. I can apply and describe amounts of rotation in both clockwise and anti-clockwise directions, including half turns, quarter turns, and three-quarter turns when creating designs. So when we think clockwise, what that is asking is that the movement is like the movement of a clock. It goes in the direction of a clock. When they say anti-clockwise, it's the opposite. So you think if it starts at 12, it would go backwards, like it's going down from 11, 10, 9. Okay, that's anti-clockwise. My beautiful handwriting. Anti-clockwise. Okay, now let's keep going. Now we're going to practice. So I've again already put the answers there in case there is someone who can't see the video and is only using the PDF. When I want you to focus on these circles down below. Think of a clock. Think of this being 12. There we go. Think of, now we're just focusing on 3, 6, and 9. Okay. So when we have half turns, quarter turns, 3/4 turns, thinking of a clock is going to help you a lot, guys. And understanding clockwise, anti-clockwise. So our starting position, here we've got a pentagon. I want you to really focus on just the point up the top. That is our focus point. That is going to be kind of like the needle point of a clock, where it starts and where it ends. Okay? When this pentagon does a quarter turn clockwise, I want you to really focus on getting that point to the 3, because 1/4 turn from that point would go 1/4 of a clock. Okay? Half turn, if it started at 12, half of a turn would be where the 6 is on the clock, and it would look like this one over here. Then the pentagon, if it did a 3/4 turn, okay, that means it's think of 3/4 of a clock. It would go like from 12, 3, 6 to 9, because from 12 to 3 is 1/4 of a circle. From 12 to 6 is half of the circle, and then from 12 to 9 is 1 to 3/4 of that circle. Okay, and then you've got your full turn clockwise, which basically goes from one point back to the other because it's done a full turn. Okay, might even remind you of angles there. You're going to now complete activities that are similar and practice doing quarter, half turns, 3/4 turns, and clockwise, full turns, sorry. We're just focusing on clockwise today. What you can do after this is practice doing some anti-clockwise. It is up to you. So the shapes are here. You are going to draw. You can do this activity on a piece of paper again. So draw the shapes here and then do them 1/4 turn, half turn, 3/4 turn, and full turn clockwise. Or you can do, get a screen grab, clip this picture, and then post it onto your doc, and then insert some shapes and do it that way. Whatever works for you. Paper is probably the easiest and it's going to be quicker. But again, up to you and whatever works. I'd like you to please continue rotating the shapes by 1/4 turns, 1/2 quarter turns, 3/4 turns, and full turns clockwise. Your next activity, which is optional, so your optional activity is to have a go at practicing quarter turns and anti-clockwise and half turns, all of those, by creating a code for the minion to reach the finish line. So I've started it for you. You can use mine or you can even create your own. You're going to create your own code to get the minion from the start to the finish without touching a black box. Use the instructions, so I've put the purple box here for you. So quarter turn clockwise is his first turn. Okay, so he's going here. Then again, then he's doing a half turn and going here. Okay, so using that terminology, you might do a half turn, go here. Okay, whatever it is, have lots of fun practicing. You can make your own path. You can choose whatever you want him to do. Okay, it's up to you. Have lots of fun with this activity. Good luck. For this activity, you will most likely need to just draw one of your own. Again, paper is perfect for this. If you can do a screenshot and copy and paste this page onto a Word document, onto your Google Doc, and insert your own shapes, that's fine. Whatever works. Paper, doing it on a piece of paper and drawing one of your own is completely okay. Have fun. Enjoy. Remember, Mrs. Debate is on the Google Doc, if you on the Google Docs, on the Google Classroom if you need anything. If not, I'll see you at tomorrow's lesson. Welcome to Thursday's lesson. Today we are going to focus on tessellating patterns using symmetry, our rotating, reflecting, and translating knowledge, our knowledge of 2D shapes, understanding overlap, gaps, and I think that should be about it. Let's start with our warm-up. Your warm-up fact number for the day is number 44. Our learning intention. Today you are focusing on I can rotate, reflect, and translate shapes to create tessellating pictures. Tessellating pictures, or anything really, tessellating patterns are everywhere. We see them in our buildings, we see them in tiles, we see them on the walls of amazing mosaic museums. We see them everywhere. They're quite beautiful, and the way they work is by having reflecting, like the repeating patterns. They have special features because if you realize they don't overlap and there are no gaps as well. Let's get started. So our first practice, again, I started it for you. I did this because of people who can't watch the video and do only have the PDF. So I had four shapes really, but 2 of each. So I had started with a trapezium, which is in blue, and I had the pentagon, which is in red. With the pentagon and the trapezium, I've started to create my very own tessellation. I'd like to read this information here for you first, before we keep going. So what is tessellation? Tessellated shapes are 2D shapes which fit together exactly through the shapes, and they do not have to be the same. So for instance, a tessellated pattern can be created with triangles, and the picture above was over there on the other page, sorry. But however, you can also use mixed shapes to create tessellating patterns, such as triangles, hexagons, triangles and squares, whatever it is. You don't even need to use 2, you can use lots. The only rule is that the sides must all sit flush they're together, they're joined. Ends, they are joined flush against each other, and they leave no gaps or empty spaces at all. So obviously my tessellating pattern here has only just begun. It is not complete because there are so many white spots. You can have a look, and I can't exactly, there are no shapes on mine. All I can do is draw, so bear with me. I'm just going to do the outline. If you have a look here, what I was going to do next is use a rhombus to fill in this space. So by using the rhombus, I'm creating a flush space. My pattern, you can see it's still symmetrical, and I'm going to continue, and over here I might create my very own trapezium, but upside down version. I might draw, so your lines will be a lot better than mine, because mine on this screen, and oops, so that's not working because it's too squashed. So just pretend that you can see the end of that, and here it would go across. So as you can see, I'm continuing my pattern. My tessellation, I've got kind of, if you notice here, I've got some shapes. I'm using different shapes. Over in this corner, I've not overlapped or not made it flush, so I will have to erase that and start that again. So it's all in the details. You have to be very persistent, very careful. What you can do is find shapes around your home. So I might use this post-it notepad to outline some squares and make a big pattern on my paper. Okay, you might use things like anything really around your home, things that you can use to, like the lid of my highlighter is a rectangle. I can trace that. I can trace lots of things. Okay, you can use things around your home to help you create your tessellating pattern, but you can also do this online. So I'll show you what I mean. So offline, have a go at creating your own tessellating pattern by cutting out shapes, drawing shapes. So you don't need to cut it out. You can draw onto a piece of paper. My advice is to start simple. You might start from one corner and go out through, okay? Or you might start from the middle and go out, and then on the edges cut it out to make sure that there's no white spaces. But if you want to do online, you can have a go at creating your own tessellating pattern by using the app Paint 3D, or this is a fantastic little creator, a tessellation creator. All of the shapes are here for you. You don't need to find them. They'll be at the bottom of the page. You just click on a shape, it'll pop up, and you can move it around and create your own tessellating pattern. What you can do, I think there's a saving button, but if you can't, remember the print screen button, so PRTSCR. If you click that on your keyboard, it will actually take a picture of your whole page. Then you won't see it, it won't tell you it's done it, but you go to your Google Doc, click on Control V, or right click and click on Paste, and it will go there automatically after you've clicked that. So it basically takes a photo and you can paste it onto your doc. Either way, if it's on paper, you can take a photo of it and post it in your doc. If you can't do that, take pride in your work. You might even put it on your windowsill and see the light reflecting off your tessellating pattern. Whatever it is, I'm sure your work is going to be fantastic. And your challenge, what happens if you use a circle in your tessellation? Can you use it? I don't know. Have fun. Either way, enjoy yourselves. I can't wait to see your work if I can. If not, I'm sure your parents would be super proud to see it. I'm so excited. Have lots of fun, guys. Happy Thursday, and I will see you on our Zoom chat tomorrow. Bye, everyone.